Hi guys, just as I promised, this is a small brief video just to revise our semester 6 subject HRM and Global Practices. Myself, Professor Seema Asher from Mulund College of Commerce, Assistant Professor at in the BMS section. We begin the subject by understanding what is global practices in the human resource management. It is also called as IHRM, that is International Human Resource Management. It can be defined as a set of activities related to HR which are done at the international level, which means all that you all have learned till now related to HR it may be recruitment selection, motivation and leadership, change management, compensation management. When all these HR activities are done at the international level, it is called as International Human Resource Management. You need to remember these three terms very carefully. These are the different types of employees which are seen when we are working at the international level. The first one is called as the HCN, or the host country national. These are the employees who belong to the country where the subsidiary is located. Then the second type of employee is the parent country national, or the PCN. These are the employees who belong to the country where the firm has its headquarters. And the third type of employees, that is the TCN, also called as the third country nationals. They are those who are neither HCN nor PCN. That means they belong to some other country, not to the host country, neither to the parent country. You also need to remember these four approaches to IHRM very clearly. The first approach is called the ethnocentric approach. Ethnocentric approach is the approach where the parent country, that is the country of origin of the business, whatever policies are followed in the parent country will have to be followed by all the subsidiaries throughout the world, wherever it has its business. That approach is called as the ethnocentric approach. The second approach is called as the polycentric approach. In the polycentric approach, the host country, that is, wherever the MNC has put up its subsidiaries or started its subsidiaries, that country is called as a host country. So, in the polycentric approach, the host country is allowed to manage its subsidiary in its own way. This approach is polycentric approach. The third approach is called as the regiocentric approach. The region in which the subsidiaries are situated, that means suppose the company has its headquarters in US and it has its subsidiaries in, say, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, in the countries, in the Asian countries. So the approach used here in the regiocentric approach is to follow the practices of the countries within that particular geographic region. The fourth and the last approach is the geocentric approach. This approach is the best approach because in this approach, the best practices throughout the world globally are used for carrying out the HR activities. So this approach is called as the geocentric approach. So you must always remember that there are four approaches to IHRM: ethnocentric approach, polycentric approach, regiocentric approach, and the geocentric approach. Now we come to another term that is called as cross-cultural management. Whenever organizations work on a very large scale, when they just expand their business throughout the world globally, the number of employees who are working with them increase. Not only the number increase, but the different types of employees with whom they are working also increase. So you will have a mix of employees who are from different countries, following different cultures, different religions, speaking different languages, having different styles of working, and so on. So it becomes very challenging for the global HR manager to manage this kind of diverse workforce. So this is cross-cultural management. It describes the organizational behavior within the countries and cultures. It compares the organizational behavior across the countries and cultures and tries to understand and improve the interaction of the customers, suppliers, employees, executives, and others from different countries and cultures around it. As a global HR manager, you will have to manage the diversity in your workplace. Now, what is this diversity in workplace? Diversity in workplace means bringing together people from different ethnic backgrounds, following different religions, of different age groups, and making them a cohesive and productive unit. This is possible due to advancement of communication technology. We have the internet, we have phones, we have so many different ways in which we can easily communicate with the diverse working force all over the globe. Managing diversity in workplace should become a culture of the whole organization. There are different strategies for dealing with diversity in workplace. In that, the most important strategy is clear and transparent communication. So the emphasis is on very clear, very transparent and good communication. In a huge organization, in a multinational organization, every employee should be treated as an individual. Every employee should be encouraged to work in different diverse groups rather than being a part of a same group throughout. The HR manager should be very open minded, systematic, and base decisions on objective criterias. When the HR manager follows this, it will be easy to handle diversity in workplace. A very interesting term or concept in this subject is cultural shock and reverse culture shock. What do you mean by culture shock? When an employee is being sent to a foreign country on an international assignment, this employee has to adjust to the new circumstances, the new geographical location, to the new place, to the new people, to the new working style, to the new natural habitat, and so on. Now, this state of being overwhelmed by the difference in custom and behavior in a foreign place is called as culture shock. If you look at the picture over here, this is a person who is leaving his home, going for a foreign assignment. When he comes to the foreign country, he is not able to adjust and he goes into a culture shock. Slowly, he gets used to and learns to cope with the new changes, and then he starts adjusting. And once his job is over, then he has to return back to his home country where he is going to face a reverse culture shock. So he will have to readjust to the new to the home country from where he had left earlier. So that is called as reverse culture shock. So these two terms, culture shock and reverse culture shock, both are very important. What is reverse culture shock? As I had told you just now, it is this term is used to describe unanticipated Reverse culture shock is a term which is used to describe the adjustment difficulties that the expatriate faces when he comes back to the country of his origin. These difficulties can also be termed as re-entry shock or own culture shock. Now we come to the second unit of our syllabus. The second unit talks about global HRM functions. All the HR functions which we have learned earlier, like recruitment and selection, compensation, training and development, performance management, motivation, industrial relations, when they are done at the international level, we term them as global HR functions. So let us see some of them. When the recruitment and selection is done by a MNC, they can make use of different approaches. The ethnocentric approach is where the parent country nationals are favored while recruiting. Polycentric approach is where the host country nationals are preferred. Geocentric approach is an approach, it is the best approach, I would say, where the ability is considered more important than the nationality, and the best talents are hired by the organization. The best global talents are hired by the organization. In regiocentric approach, it is similar to geocentric, but the restriction is based on only the region. So the hiring is done from a particular region only. Now, when an HR manager, a global HR manager, has to select an expatriate, that means any employee who has to be sent for the international assignment, he has to take this decision very, very carefully. Because if this decision is not taken carefully, chances of the expatriate not able to adjust in the new assignments are very large. So while taking this decision, the HR manager has to consider several factors like whether that employee has the technical ability to do the project or the work which is going to be assigned to him internationally. Is that individual employee have the ability to adjust to the new situation, that is cross cultural suitability, and he meets the requirements of that international, the foreign country in which he is going to be sent. Does he know additional languages which will be useful to him in the international assignments? What are his family commitments or responsibilities? And what are the requirements of the organization? Now, how should an HR manager manage a global diverse workforce? Managing a global diverse workforce is very, very challenging. So the HR manager must give equitable treatment, should have a empowered culture in the organization, should provide orientation to the employee, should invest in diversity training. The next HR concept which we have to study here is international compensation. What does international compensation mean? It means the monetary and non-monetary awards which are given to the employee, which will include the base salary, benefits, perquisites, all kinds of incentives which are given to the employee for their contribution. The components of international compensation chiefly are base salary and foreign service inducement and hardship premium. This hardship allowances is given to expatriates so that they can relocate, and it is a premium for changing their country, changing their culture, changing their working style, and getting adjusted to the new place. So that is called as the hardship premium. There are several allowances like cost of living allowance, housing allowance, education allowance, relocation allowance, and so on. Three different approaches can be used by the multinational organization for deciding their compensation. The first approach is called as the home-based approach or the balance sheet approach. Here, the it tries to equalize the difference between the home and the host country's compensation. The second approach is the host based approach, where the employee is transferred to the host country's payroll and the compensation is based on the host country's regulation, that is the HCN's regulations. The third approach is the global market approach, where the salary which is paid to the international employee, that is the expatriate, depends on the global standards regardless of the home country. The next topic, which is in unit 3, is expatriation and repatriation. Now, what is this expatriation? It is defined as an international relocation for work purpose for a period of time during which the employee is usually accompanied by the family. So, the employee is sent for an international assignment for sufficiently long period of time wherein his family also relocates with him. This is called as the process of expatriation. As you look at the diagram, the picture over here, the HR manager has to select the expatriate, orient the expatriate so that the expatriate adjusts to the new role, and the performance of the expatriate over in the foreign country has to be managed. Compensation and rewards have to be sufficiently given to him, and when the project gets over, when the period of expatriation gets over, the repatriation, that is homecoming or coming back of the expats, is done. When you select an expatriate, these are the different factors which we have already discussed in the earlier slide. You need to have an employee who is very adjusting, who is able to adjust to the new circumstances, to the new country, new culture very quickly, and he does not have too many family responsibilities. Knowing of a foreign language becomes an additional benefit. Now, what is the role of the expatriate? The expatriate who is being sent for that international assignment will act as a representative of the organization for whom he is working. So he becomes an agent of direct control, agent of socializing, network builder, transfer of competence and knowledge, boundary spanner, and a language node. So the expatriate plays a variety of roles in the foreign country. Now, what is repatriation? Once the assignment project of the expatriate is over, he comes back to his home country. So repatriation refers to termination of the overseas assignment and coming back to the home country. That is to the country where he is originally located. Now this term also is important. Who is a non-expatriate? The people who travel internationally but they do not relocate themselves are called as non-expatriate. For example, you have sales staff who are attending trade fairs, or staff who are going for periodic visits to foreign countries, and so on. They are also called as frequent flyers, road warriors, globe trotters, and flexpatriates. These are the different terms which are used for a non-expatriate. Women and expatriation. There are several myths prevalent related to women and expatriation. Many times HR managers are reluctant to select female candidates for foreign assignments. Reasons could be many. There are some stereotypes in the minds of managers which influence their decision, and it is generally believed that a woman will not be able to adjust to the new country, new culture, and so on. Sometimes women themselves have their own self-established barriers where they are reluctant to relocate themselves because of family responsibilities. The fourth unit talks about the virtual organization. Now, what is a virtual organization? Today's global modern world, business is done throughout the world. So, we have a virtual organization where people from different countries are connected with each other through internet, and they work together as a team. So virtual organization is an organization involving detached and disseminated entities and requiring IT to support their work and organization. And the last topic of the syllabus, knowledge management and HRM. Since we have a number of different employees of different countries, of different cultures working together, we can pool the knowledge together. So as an HR manager, we need to pool these resources together and have a knowledge driven organization. This collective knowledge has to be made use of. It has to be properly created and shared. When the knowledge management process provides a framework for connecting people with all people and people with information. Hope this video will be of use to you as a last minute revision. Thank you so much. God bless you. All the best.